Hi, and welcome to the Business Behavior Podcast. It seems like forever since we've been on. I hope everyone is doing okay. I'm your host, or co-host, Kelly P. Hodges, and this is my friend, business partner, Chandra Brooks. How you doing, Chandra?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm good. It's been so long since we've seen each
Are
other.
you keeping cool?
I'm trying. Y'all know it's hot as fish grease in Houston. But yes, we are. I'm trying to keep cool and get through this weather. But we are so excited to be here today. The Business Behavior Podcast. We have been celebrating Juneteenth. We've talked about a lot this month. A lot is going on in the country. Juneteenth. We are so excited to have that as a federal holiday. So make sure you get your Juneteenth holiday or bank that holiday. Do what you need to do to make sure you celebrate that. A lot of people worked hard, and have to give a shout out to my Congresswoman, our Congresswoman, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, and all of our elected officials who advocated to get that holiday, Juneteenth, as a federal holiday. So we're very excited about that. But today, Chandra, what are we talking about today? Because I don't ever know.
You just don't want to know. Today we have on the show Sheri, who's with Unity Bank, and she's going to talk to us about why it's important to have a business bank account and some other things, why you should not use third-party cash apps. Everyone who start a business want to go straight to Cash App. Mm-hmm. So today she's going to talk to us and explain why that is not a good business move. Mm-hmm. And then also funding opportunities. What funds are out there for those individuals who are starting a nonprofit or a for-profit?
Yeah. And so Sheri Lawal Price, thank you so much for joining us. And we're excited to have you. I don't think we've had any bankers. Have we had a banker?
We have not.
We have not. And that is so important. We probably should have started our podcast with that. So please forgive us. Charge it to our head and not our heart. So charge it to our heart. Which one is it? Our head and not our heart.
That's right.
But yeah, because we definitely know. And one of the things we do here on the Business Behavior Podcast is we want to just encourage and provide good information to small business owners. And definitely we understand as small business owners how important having a good relationship with our banking institution is. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Sheri.
Well, first, I just want to say thank you for having me. And yes, shame on the both of you for not having a banker, especially a banker from Unity National Bank, all African American owned banking institution in the state of Texas. Mm-hmm. But I just want to say thank you for having me on the show. This is a privilege. And Kelly, we go way back. I've been knowing you for a while. So thank you for adding me to this episode.
Thank you.
But just a little bit about myself. I've been in banking a little over 13 years. I actually started my career at Unity National Bank as a credit analyst. Did that for a couple of years, got promoted to do commercial lending, and then became a assistant vice president for business development and marketing. Whoa. Well, soon after that, some other banks started poking at me. Mm-hmm. And so I had an opportunity to go to BB&T, which is now Truist, and worked there for a couple of years. And I was vice president of small business and consumer lending. Mm-hmm. So I enjoy banking. Pretty much where I found a passion in my niche was when I actually started my career at Unity Bank, because I had no idea that a lot of our, I would say, peers or people in the community live check to check. And so what I found was, hey, how do I help people get out of that whole mindset? And I see Kim Roxy out there. Hey, Kim Roxy. My girl. Just getting out that mindset, not living check to check, using the resources that they have, that we have. Because at the end of the day, we were built by the community. We started in 1963. It was community leaders, professors, doctors, lawyers, pastors that actually started the institution. And so that's what it's really about. It's really creating opportunity in our own community that we serve. And so that's where I really gained a true passion. And I want to say, you know what, I need to take it a step further. I need to become an expert in my industry. And so I need to gain knowledge and go somewhere else to be able to bring it back home. So that's just a little bit about me.
That is awesome. And you hit on something that I didn't know, that how Unity Bank was started. And did you say it's the only African American owned bank in the state of Texas?
Yes, the only African American owned and led financial institution in the state of Texas.
Wow. That's Black History. That's what you call Black History 365 right there. Mm-hmm. And so with that, you hit on a very good point about how many of us are actually live paycheck to paycheck, or how many of us are really only one paycheck away from one paycheck, living paycheck to paycheck. And so with that, what are some of the programs that your bank has to kind of help those that may feel like there's no means to an end?
Yeah. One thing that is unique about Unity, we are small. We have less than 50 employees. We have 3 locations. So we have a location in the Greater Third Ward, one in Missouri City. And then we opened our 3rd location in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, wow.
And so I would say one thing that's unique about Unity is that we have partners. Mm-hmm. So because we're so small, a lot of times we can't offer what other institutions are offering. So for example, when I worked at BB&T and I see my old colleague, Jimmy Jones out there, we had different products that we offered for small businesses, for consumers, like secure checking, things like that. And by no means am I promoting Truist right now, but I just want to show you that Unity is very unique because we have partners that are out there in the community that we can bring to the table to help you with financial education, financial credit, things like that. Another key thing is that we're small, so you have a family feel. We know every customer by name. Anyone that walks through the door, we know them by name. So really establishing that relationship, them coming in, talking to us, telling us what their goals are, maybe their aspirational goals, we're able to help them. Whereas other institutions, especially larger institutions, they kind of just pass them along and say, okay, thank you for opening the account, and that's it, But most of our customers have our personal number, and so we're able to give them that one-on-one coaching, and that's what it's really about. We may not have all the resources that large institutions have, but we do have where we can call you and say, hey, how can we help you? What's going on? What information do you need? And if it's something that we can't do or in our wheelhouse or willpower, then we're going to call one of our partners, maybe an Amegy Bank, maybe it's someone at BB&T, maybe it's someone at Cadence Bank Regions. And that's the unique part about Unity Bank.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that information, and even providing information about other banking institutions, because that's the first question. People will say, well, why should we come to Unity Bank? And for us as small business owners with Hodges Communications Group, LLC, we know how important it is to have relationships with our financial institutions and people that are holding our money. And so with that, can you talk to us a little bit about how important it is to establish a relationship with your banking institution, whether it's a big bank or whether it's a smaller bank?
Yeah. One thing I would say is, and just kind of, my past and being in banking, is that people think that just because they have a check-in or savings account, business account at a bank, that they feel like, okay, now it's time for me to get a loan or a credit card, they should be approved instantly. So many times I have seen people that have a relationship with a bank 15, 20 years, they've been a loyal customer, they have good deposits, but when it's time for them to make that next step, it's a challenge. And one is, as a banker, we're here to advocate for you. We're here to tell your story. And if we don't know you, how can we tell that story? So if you're going online, filling out an application, or you're coming in for the first time, actually trying to establish a relationship with a banker, we have nothing to go to an underwriter to tell them about your story. So I think anytime you have a banking account, which I hope most of the people that are watching, they have one, start a relationship. It's important because at the end of the day, we're the ones that's going to go to the underwriters, go to our credit analysts, and let them know what your story is. And not only that, we're going to help you build on that story. So you may not be ready for that business loan right now. But let's say if you call me and say, hey, Sheri, I'm looking to start a business within the next 6 to 12 months. It's my job, my duty to make sure you're prepared and arm you with all the tools and resources that you need. so that you can hit that next milestone in your life.
And that's so important, because I know for me, Hodges Communications Group just appeared one day. Like, there was not a business plan. All I knew was, okay, people were reaching out to me and asking for my support. And then of course I pulled my friend in, because my philosophy is, when I eat, everybody around me eats, And so I was like, okay, Chandra, people are asking us, and I know that, we can put a dollar amount, we can turn our passion into a paycheck, which was actually our first business behavior podcast show, was about how to just do that, because I was doing it for years and just saying, oh, just take me to lunch. Oh, just give me a gift card to Melodrama. Oh, whatever. And so then I was like, okay, I can actually make some money, supplemental income, doing this. And so I didn't have a business plan. It wasn't until I started really getting deeper into it that I, established it and said, okay, let me take a few steps back and get a business plan. So what type of, does your bank provide those types of services as well?
Yeah, we will assist with that. But then we also have, like I told you, it's really the power of unity, to be honest with you. Okay. Collaborations, partnerships. So we have, that's something that our lenders will do. In my role as business development and marketing, that's something that I will assist our clients with. But then we also have relationships with like SCORE, the University of Houston Small Business Center, the Women's Resource Center. So it's so many organizations that are around us, nonprofit, that do not charge you, and they help you, and they have the resources to help you with your business plan. They can help you with, your market research. They can help you establish or develop your projections. So when you go into the bank, you have a full package. Right. And so when someone comes in, like you stated, Kelly, you just jumped up, you woke up one morning, was like, I'm starting this business and I'm doing it. Right. Yeah. And so you didn't think about it. As you went along, you started putting stuff on paper. But at the end of the day, if you have an idea, even if you wake up one morning and say, I'm doing this, guess what? You can call me. And I'm going to introduce you to one of our partners that can help you from beginning to the very end. Not only that, they stick with you. So it may be you're in business 3, 4, 5 years down the line, and you're ready to expand, grow, or even turn your business into a franchise. They're still going to be there to assist you. And that's what it's really about.
So with that, with all of what you just shared with us, when you're a new business owner, you try to look at the quickest way so that you can be paid, which leads us to third-party apps like Cash App, like Zelle, like Venmo. Is that a good direction to go in, or is that something we should shy away from? Should we get a Clover? Should we get a credit card machine? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I'm not going to say third-party vendors or apps are bad. Number one, banks, especially larger banks, they use Zelle. That's a third party. And it's secured. It's secured by FDIC. And so I'm not going to say it's a bad thing. However, I think what happens is people really don't understand how to use those apps. Because at the end of the day, most of those apps, you have to link your bank account to those apps. Right. They're very risky. It's high risk dealing with an app, an app like a Cash App or PayPal, because they're not secure. So make sure you read the fine print, any disclosures, because at the end of the day, if you lose money, right now we have a lot of hacking going on. It's at an all-time high. And if you do not understand how third-party apps work, then you can put your business and yourself, your personal identity, at jeopardy. So I think it's really important to make sure you read those disclosures, because PayPal, Cash App, they're not responsible if a hacker comes in. And most of the time you can't call and talk to customer service and tell them that you had some fraud to your account. You have to send an email. And it's like, okay, how soon can they get back with you? But versus a banking institution, you call someone right away. Even if you bank with a larger institution, you call someone right away. Right then and there, they stop the payments. They send you a new debit card. It's taken care of. Third-party apps, it's a little bit slower. So you have to really be careful when you're dealing with those third-party apps. And it's your responsibility at the end of the day.
And if you're a small business, and you have X amount of dollars that's on hold that you need to have access to. If you have to pay people, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's huge. Thank you for that information. So note to self, delete those apps from my phone.
And again, I'm not going to say, because we're partnering with Zelle right now, and so we'll be bringing that to our customers soon. But what I will say is, if you're going to get with a third party app, just make sure it's something that is already connected, or institutions already have a relationship with them.
Yeah, and you brought up a very valid point, because Zelle, I think, I feel safe with Zelle. The other ones, I think, the other third party ones were me for more convenience, because she got kids in school. I have a niece in school, so it is easy to say, can you cash at me, so and so. But in actuality, we really should be teaching them the importance of establishing a bank account, and then also keeping that account in the positive, because what really happens is they want it by Cash App, because that bank account is in a negative, so we can't just run to the bank and make a deposit. So yeah, that's a whole nother show.
I like but I like what you said about Zelle, that it's secured by FDIC. I know for a fact Cash App is not, because they'll say, even if I've known people to send money to the wrong person, and there's no receiving that money back unless the person you sent it to is going to be kind enough to send it back to you. But it's a wash if you.
Did you say kind enough?
Yeah, kind enough. We do have kind people out here.
Okay.
I've just never ran into them yet.
Yeah.
So, Sheri, with that being said, how does it work with small business funding opportunities? You talked a little bit about how you all have, and I think of your bank kind of like Hodges Communications Group, everything you described in providing more of a boutique service. Being able to provide that one-on-one consultation, and then also being selective in who you all do business with. So how can a small business benefit as it relates to small business opportunities and funding and things like that through your bank?
One thing I will say is you really need to have that relationship. That's key. With any banking institution that you're with, have that relationship. Because at the end of the day, just like what just happened with PPP, what did the federal government do? They pretty much put the funds in a bank so that the funds could be dispersed to a small business or a business, right, or a corporation. So I would say, and I say this, and Kim, Roxy would know, it's 4 people that you always need to have around you when you're in business, thinking about starting a business. The 4 people I say is, number 1 is a banker, of course. Because we see all types of businesses, small, medium, large corporations. We have those partnerships. The other one would be a financial advisor, someone that you can have to take care of your personal affairs, to help you grow, make sure that, once you're ready to retire, exit that business, that your personal affairs are taken care of. Number 3 would be a CPA, tax preparer. You want to always make sure that you have a CPA around that can help you with financial modeling, that can help you with, of course, filing your tax returns, things like that. And then a business attorney. So with all of that, I would say once you have all of that, you have that business plan, you have your projections, you're ready to start their business, or you've been in business, that's when it's time for you to go to a bank. And I would say the first stop, of course, will be Unity Bank, hands down. We're in a very unique position right now. We have so many different partners that are putting capital into our bank to make sure we deploy that into the community. And that's number 1. And if it's something that we can't do, we're not going to just say, okay, you're declined, we can't help you. We're going to reach out to the many partners that we have to see how we can get a deal done. Or we're going to educate you to say, okay, you can't do this right now. Let me tell you why you can't do it, but this is what you need to do. And your job is to go back and get that done, and then come back to me when you're ready. Right. So I would say a bank is number 1. You also have, if you're starting a business, you have VCs, venture capitalists, right? You have angel investors, you have crowdfunding. It's a lot of resources out there. You also have grants. You can go to your state, you can go to the city and the county to get grants for your business. Those are things that you don't have to pay back. SBA had EIDL. grant that was out there in the very beginning, and I think they still have funds. I made a post on yesterday, and it may still be out there, that SBA has, I think, almost 30 billion. Don't quote me on that. It's on my page. So if you want to know how much they have left, but they still have funds, and they really want to support small businesses that are in LMI communities.
Okay.
So low to moderate communities. If you're not in those communities, then it's other things like I Fund Women, Lift Fund, LISC, LISC. It's so many resources out there, especially for minorities right now. Minorities and small business owners. There's so many different resources. But I would say your first stop would be talk to your banker, talk to your CPA, and see what information they have to help you.
And that is some great information. And we have a lot of good questions that are popping up, and we want to get to those questions real quick, Sheri.
Okay.
Advice for nonprofits and finding the right grants?
Yeah, again, a bank. I mean, banks do nonprofit lending. Banks understand nonprofit lending. So I would say, of course, I'm gonna always say number one, and it's not because I work for a bank, it's because banks have so many different resources, and a lot of times people come to banks first before they even put any type of programs out into the community, because we already have, a handful of clientele that they can tap into.
Wow. Okay.
So I would say banks first. They're like a Lift Fund. It's several resources. So Kelly, what I will do is I'll send you a list so you can post it. So after this, whoever's watching, or if they want to share this information, they can be able, they'll be able to come back and look at some of the resources.
Right. Okay.
Yes, they can tap into it.
And I know that our viewers and clients and everyone that's been following us definitely want to have that information. We have a question. Is there a monthly fee generated with a business account through Unity Bank? I'm assuming it's through Unity Bank. That's the question, Alex?
If it's through Unity Bank, so we do have some business accounts depending on what type of business you are. Most of our sole proprietor LLCs that are single LLCs and not partnerships won't have a fee as long as you maintain a monthly balance, and most banks are like that. If you maintain a monthly balance, you won't have a monthly fee. Now, if you drop below that average balance that you should be keeping in daily or monthly, then it will be a fee that's assessed to your account.
Well, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
I knew it, Sheri. I knew it was coming.
Let's talk about it.
It's a little discouraging because if you're a small business and you're just starting out, of course, you're not going to have the capital to meet those minimum requirements. I know for sure Bank of America, I mean, you have to have minimum to open up a business account, $5,000 in order not to, incur that fee, or you have to spend at least $250 a month for the fee to be waived. So that's just one example that I'm familiar with. But we're talking about helping small business owners be successful. We're talking about, getting these small businesses, up and thriving, but those monthly fees can also be detrimental to it.
Yeah,
they can definitely be detrimental. They definitely can be.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I am one of those people that I cannot stand the idea of paying somebody to transact my money for me.
Right.
And I know banks are in business to make money, and I know that. But it like a late fee, even to get checks, I'm like, oh, that just aggravates me. And so, but I know that, but in my mindset is I don't want to pay you to hold my money.
Right. And basically, that's what you're doing.
Yeah. And so
and they're lending it out. And
So they're making money. But so can you kind of help us through this?
Absolutely.
I think we're not the only ones.
No, you're not the only one. So let me address your question first. So with Unity, you only need $100 to start an account. That's number one.
A business account?
Business account, $100.
Transfer.
Okay.
That's number one. Again, I addressed that if you keep a certain amount in your account, you won't be charged a fee. So that's number 2. What I will say is Google is your best friend. Google business bank accounts that do not charge a monthly service fee.
Okay.
There are several out there. And I'm not trying to promote other institutions,
Right.
but
We understand.
I'm an entrepreneur.
Yes.
I have a business too. I do work. That's my 9 to 5. I love banking. I've been doing it, but then I also do my homework as well.
Okay.
So that's number 1. But 2, you really have to understand, and I think what happens, people don't really understand banking. So they think, oh, I have my money in the bank. Y'all should charge me a fee because you're making money. But really, for a bank, a deposit is a liability. At the end of the day, we make no money off of, unless we lend it out. And 9 times out of 10, banks have more deposits than they lend out. And let's just be honest. That's why it's so important for us to educate our community. It's so important for us to educate business owners, to tell them how to gain access to capital. That's our job, because we want to lend the money out. Because as long as the money stay in there, it's an expense to us. We don't make any money. And the little fees that we do charge our customers is not covering the deposits that we have in the bank. So it's a liability. And, so at the end of the day, 1, I would say just go out there and do your research, find bank accounts that don't charge you a fee. I know when I was at BB&T, and I'll throw this out there, but again, you need to come to Unity, they had a small business account, but you couldn't make over 50 transactions. That's deposits and withdrawals. And so if you went over those 50 transactions, that was it. They're going to charge you a fee. So it had a lot of limitations, because you could be a small business, but you can have over 100 transactions in 1 month. And then that's $15. So, just make sure, again, read the fine line, the fine print, read those disclosures, and make sure you understand what you're getting into before you get into it.
We have a really good question from Shantae Michelle Thompson, who is the owner of Doss Couture Designs. And she says that she has a bank, but she uses other apps too, because sometimes the customers want that. So should that, and that's the third party apps, should that not be, should they reconsider even offering that payment opportunity? Because most online payments now, when you're shopping, they have PayPal. They use, PayPal as an option.
Yeah, what I would say is make sure that whatever third party app you're using, make sure you have that 2-part authentication. It's a 2-factor authentication. So, at the end of the day, you wanting to protect your business and your personal identity. That's what really matters. So I think where a lot of people have an issue is when they go in, they create these usernames and passwords. A lot of times, and I'm guilty of it, a lot of times people create their own password. There's nothing wrong with, sometimes they say use this strong password or create your own. There's nothing wrong with using that strong password and having an app that keeps all your passwords, right? It's like a password keeper.
Right.
I think that's what a lot of people don't understand when using these third-party apps. PayPal, they've been around for quite a while. Right. So I don't have too many issues with them. I don't hear too many people saying that they have issues. Where your issues are is a consumer. And they want to they want to dispute a transaction. Once they get the merchandise, they want to dispute it. And once you do it through PayPal, it's really hard for you to get your money back as a business owner. Right. So that's another thing. So, you can use, reach out to a banker and see if they have merchant services. Some banks, like I know, for example, again, I'm not promoting another bank, but Chase has Square. And so, that's something that's secure because now it's tied in with your financial institutions.
Right.
So what I will say is make sure you ask your bank first before you go and use those third party apps.
Well, Sheri, thank you so much. This has really been some very helpful information and useful information, which is what we try to bring here at the Business Behavior Podcast, particularly for our clients with Hodges Communications Group, LLC. So thank you so much for joining us today. And before we leave, I want to announce the National Newspaper Publishers Association. Their conference is going on right now, Black Press of America. And we want to make sure that everyone in America is going online to sign up for the virtual conference. It's going on right now. I think we have the link up online. If we don't, our super producer Alex is going to get it up. But thank you again so much, Sheri. And we will definitely have you back next year.
Yes.
I'm saying next year, but probably next quarter to give us some more information, especially as when it's time for people to start paying back all these PPP loans. And I know there are going to be a lot of questions and things like that. So we definitely love to have you back. And again, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you all for joining us here at the Business Behavior Podcast. Have a great day. Great evening.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.